Yo, what's happening, man? It's Kimo Arcane coming to you all the way live. Your favorite country cousin, your favorite Mississippian, and your best friend. Man, this is chapter 10 of Mental Shampoo and Audio Experience Plus More. We made it, y'all. We made it, y'all. Congratulations. We are here. The last and final, the grand finale, the grandiose chapter 10 of Mental Shampoo. I have had fun creating this series of work. Like, it's so amazing to think of something, actually work towards that thing and execute that thing, and to be able to finish that thing and to finish strong. We are going to finish strong. I have some spicy things to talk about on today. And I'm just glad y'all been sticking with me throughout this whole ride, man. What we going to do, this chapter 10, the finale, we're going to name this one, The Fortune is in the Follow-Up. I'm going to say it again. The Fortune is in the Follow-Up. All right. Chapter 9, we talked about the wealth cure, how important, wealth is outside of the bag, the money bag. All right. In this instance, the fortune is in the follow-up. We're going to learn about more connections through friendships and other mediums as well. First things first, I want to start with my partner, Shay Lawson, attorney Shay Lawson, out there in Atlanta, Georgia. I, at one point, wanted to be an attorney. I struggled or I fought back and forth if I actually wanted to practice law. I didn't want to do the average law, all right? I ended up watching a series called Blueprint on Complex, hosted by Noah. Phenomenal series. And that is where I first learned about Charles King of Macro. Macro has done a lot of films specifically for people of color. All right. They have a long list of films. One of the most recent that I can think of off the top of my head was The Photograph with Issa Rae and Lakeith Stanfield. All right. After learning Charles King's story and how he got to where he got to, right? Because ultimately, honestly, if I could do this for the rest of my life, or ain't no if, I want to be able to do this for the rest of my life. Me and this microphone and my friends out there viewing and listening, right? My goal is to get back on stages with speaking as I've done before. Go around the nation and around the world speaking, okay? Another big goal of mine, I want to produce and create documentaries, all right? I'm a big fan of documentaries. This docuseries that I'm telling you about where I learned from Charles King, like learning about stories like that, I want to give that to the world because those type things influence me in a mighty way, all right? So going back to how he got to where he got to, he was actually a lawyer, but it was a different kind of law that he practiced, a different name, if you will, that he was actually under. He was an IP and entertainment lawyer. What is an IP lawyer? Intellectual property. Y'all, our property, our ideas, that's our property, okay? I need y'all to understand and know that. Understand, overstand, however you want to put that, right? Your ideas are worth a lot of money, okay? Only thing that we have to do is continue to be constantly consistent in the things that we are doing. That's what Charles King did. He was in entertainment law, intellectual property law, and that boosted him into, the ideas with films and whatnot. And quite frankly, when I saw a brother that looks like me, it's like, yo, that's the path I kind of want to take, right? And again, I wanted to study the law years prior to that, but I didn't know what law I wanted to study. Fast forward, after learning about that law, my homie Tim, shout out to the bro, he told me, I mentioned, I say, bro, I think I want to do entertainment law. So, bro, the episode, and he was like, man, I know a person, Shay Lawson. She runs with Movers and Pacers. And I say, oh, okay, cool. I say, try to make that link. He say, yo, just come out there and run, try to connect, whatever. I'll shoot her a DM. I shot her a DM, and thankfully she answered. I let her know, hey, I'm looking to get into entertainment law. I saw that you do this thing, and I want to get into it. Would love to link up for coffee to talk about just you and why you chose this field of work, blah, blah, blah. She hit me back, and she was like, cool. This is not verbatim, but she was like, cool. Let me know what works for you, whatever. I say, I'm flexible, whatever day works for you, blah, blah, blah. And we set a date. The day before, I hit her again, and I was like, hey, we still good for tomorrow, 10 o'clock, or whatever time it was that we met. We met up at this nice cafe out there in Georgia, outside of the city of Atlanta. It had a nice view of a pond and everything. I think I just had coffee. She had a whole meal. And first things first, we got acquainted, all right? And after getting acquainted, she pretty much asked me, so why do you want to do entertainment law? What makes you want to do law? And I told her, I said, I always wanted to do law in some capacity, but I didn't necessarily want to go the traditional route of law. These are my interests. This is what I'm interested in. This is what I like. These are my hobbies, so on and so forth, right? So I feel like entertainment law would be the way to go because I did parties back in the day with Denim and Diamond Entertainment. You know what I mean? If y'all remember the Mansion back in the day, that was on and popping. Shout out to everybody who was affiliated and a part of that. That's what really got me into entertainment for real. And after explaining all this to her, she was like, don't do law unless you really love law. And it's like, when you hear people talk like that, that's in these fields, back then they used to be like, well, why the hell are you doing it? You know what I mean? But at that point, at that age too, I had a greater understanding as to, all right, if she's telling me this, basically what she's saying is go for what you're really passionate about. Law is not something that I was particularly passionate about. It was something that I do want to learn, but not necessarily practice. That makes sense? It's something that I want to learn, but not necessarily practice or depend on to put food on my stomach also. It's not a love there for that. It's an interest, but not a love. All right? So she helped me to understand, too, that law is not really what I wanted to do. And I'm glad because I have done things that that I started and then eventually found out, man, I don't want to do this. You know what I mean? This is not making me happy. I don't feel fulfilled. And now I feel stuck here because I got to pay my bills. I got to put food on my stomach, food on my table. Got to keep a roof over my head. Now I feel stuck, right? No more feeling stuck. I share that story, though. It's a long story, and I will conclude it by saying this. We spent at least 4 or 5 hours in that cafe talking. And a very low percentage of that was about law. And Shay is a great friend of mine simply because of that. Like, that's the homie. You know what I mean? But the reason why she said that she took that meeting with me is because I actually followed up with her. Okay? Shay was the first person I heard say, after you followed up with me, that's what made me want to meet with you for real. I said, tell me more. She said, look, man, the fortune is in the follow-up. Y'all, that blew my mind. That freaking blew my mind, right? The fortune is in the follow-up, right? Y'all know the Bob Marley. I think I said it in a previous chapter where an interviewer asked him, like, are you rich? And Bob Marley was like, hey, what do you mean rich? The guy was like, you got a lot of money in the bank. He said, nah, my richness is life, right? Life. We want to build human capital. We want to have social currency. Me following up with Shay, not only did I get a friend out of that, but I also was able to get trust from her out of that, and to show that I am a decently responsible adult. Because there are times when people set times and dates and with things of that nature, there's no following up, there's no proper or effective communication taking place, and then things just fall by the wayside, and you, my friend, may have missed out on an opportunity that could have really catapulted you to a whole nother level. Right? The fortune is in the follow up. That she told me that advice in 2017, 2018. We're in 2021 as of this recording. Earlier this year, going back to my brother Tim, who helped me to connect with Shay. Early this year, bro and I were having a conversation. And he said, in addition to the fortune is in the follow-up, he said, the follow-through also is a part of that fortune. Being able to actually follow through, with the things that you say that you're going to do, so on and so forth. In so many words, with you executing and doing what you say that you're going to do, you're going to get to that richness of life, right? So that's, I cherish that story. I cherish Shay and I's friendship. And it's one of those friendships that's low maintenance, because she got a lot going on. I got a lot going on. And I'm trying to build up my life as I'm going. She's already established in a mighty way. I'm not going to even okay, I'll edify her a little bit, okay? She's a lawyer over Pimp C's estate. She's done work with Bad Boy. You know what I mean? Like, she's a big dog. So she's up there. I'm trying to get there. So it's like, but when we link, it's like we just talked yesterday. Like, we just simply catch up. We have a good time. We drink a nice cup of coffee. She's a coffee connoisseur. I was a coffee connoisseur. I'm also just drink coffee on the weekends now. But I'm more of a tea connoisseur now. I drink more tea than coffee these days. But yeah, man, the fortune is in the follow-up. And she told me, I wouldn't have came here if you didn't follow up with me. I was like, man, I respect that. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to waste nobody's time. I don't want my time to be wasted. So, in addition to the follow-up, I want y'all to follow up with yourself, right? What you mean by that, Kemar? Okay. I am a big fan of music, as y'all may have seen throughout this whole series, all throughout these different chapters, all right? Also, books. I've mentioned some books. I meant to get it out of my bag earlier so I can actually show you the book that I'm reading now. But the book is called The Body Keeps Score. I've really been studying trauma. I've been reading up on a lot of the inner child. I've been reading a lot about different neuro things of that nature, stuff like that. That's been my interest as of now, as of late. I previously finished Healing Your Aloneness. That book was about the inner child. I talked about that in one of the previous episodes. But the fortune is in the follow-up. Following up with yourself through a medium of books. If you're a reader like myself, my favorite genres are memoirs, all right? And I also like, self-discovery type books. One of my favorite books of all time is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And that book was gifted to me by one of my best friends. Shout out to Brittany. I remember we was on the phone one day and she asked me randomly. She was like, what's a book that you want to read that you haven't read yet? I said, you know what? I been hearing a lot about The Alchemist. This is like 2014, 2015. I said, I've been hearing about The Alchemist. And I really want to read that book, but I just haven't gotten around to getting it yet. And, after that, time went on. A few days later, she hit me with the text. She said, what's your address? And I'm just thinking, she planning on pulling up or something, like hanging out. I tell you what, a day or two later, and I almost got the book that day too. I got a package at my door. I open up the package, and it is the book, The Alchemist. Hit her up instantly, like, yo, thank you. You know what I mean? Because I almost got it today, but just thank you for the thought and actually sending the book. One of the best books I ever read in my life. That book is about a young man going on a journey, pretty much finding himself, finding love along the way, having to drop that love, right? And just continue finding pretty much his purpose. Like, I want you to go read it. I don't even want to give too much away, but it's about the journey, and it'll be able to resonate with any and everyone, male, female, child, senior. Okay. But I love memoirs, and during the pandemic, I was able to read Dapper Dan's memoir. And so the fortune is in the follow-up, right? Being able to follow up with people like Dapper Dan and see how he was able to move and finesse through life. But he never had a job for real, for real. He lived off dice. He lived off gambling. That was the world that he lived in Harlem, the Harlem world. Anybody that really knows me for real, always been infatuated with New York, more specifically Harlem. So that's another reason why I was just so invested in the story of Dapper Dan. But his story, phenomenal. How he was able to later get even bigger blessings in life from high-end luxury retail like Gucci. All right. He's the first cat to put stitches on something regular, like, say for instance, I got my overcoat here. Like, if I had, he would have been able to put like a Gucci print on my lapel or something to that effect. He was the first person to do all of that, right? He was the first person to get rappers into more fashionable things. He was dressing the gangsters and the entertainers, right? But his story about being in poverty, living off dice, having his store, losing the store, having Mike Tyson come in, who was hot at the time. Mike Tyson getting into a fight, that making headline news, that having the FBI come in and shut down his store. And then having Gucci to try to take one of his designs from the early 90s and whatnot and try to put it on a new creation that they came up with, right? But they didn't. Apparently, they know about this guy and his work. They wanted to reinvent it. But the beautiful thing about the internet, and this is what I can appreciate about the internet, we policed them so much, saying, hey, y'all got this from Dapper Dan. Y'all need to give this man his flowers, right? Long story short, this brother has a spot in Harlem where he can do what he does under the name of Gucci and still slap his name on his work as well, Dapper Dan. If you've seen some of his latest work, I think that was 2018, before everything had went down with the pandemic and all of that. You saw a lot of Dapper Dan stickers on the back of Gucci apparel, right? During different award shows and things, rappers and whatnot. Like, he was getting his flowers. He was getting his just due. All right. So stories like that, following up with oneself, going back to that, right? The fortune is in the follow-up, right? We have ideas. Lloyd said it best on the record, true. Sometimes you got to find a new approach to an old dream, all right? Like, I wanted to do radio growing up. This is the next best thing to radio. The fortune is in the follow-up. I'm following up with my inner child because I had my life figured out at 8 years old for real. And then it's like I let money get in the way of that. It's like, let me try to find something that's going to actually make me a lot of money. But that's before I learned about truly being happy through fulfillment, right? Because it's a lot of cats, even in that book that I'm currently reading about The Body Keeps Score. It was a guy who's a husband, a father, wife and kids, nice house, all of that. But because of his job, he's unfulfilled. But again, he feels stuck because he got a whole family to take care of. Yo, I'm all about fulfillment now. The fortune is in the follow-up and following up with being fulfilled. Okay? Another book by Paulo Coelho called The Archer. The Archer, The Archer. An archer, the bow and arrow, right? The target is on the other side. Okay? The whole premise, the whole nucleus, the whole message of the book is to learn how to properly shoot a bow and arrow and not focus so much on the target that you're trying to hit. If you can perfect your work ethic, right? If you can perfect the technique of the bow and arrow, you'll be able to hit the target that you're looking to hit. Oh my God. It's such an easy read. You can really read it in one sitting for real, for real. Paulo Coelho, one of my favorite authors, man. The fortune is in the follow-up. Follow up with your technique, with your habits, with your hobbies, with whatever it is that you are going after, man. Okay? And it's okay to take a glance into the future. I see exactly where I want to be. But now we got to put the fine details in the present, right? We got to put in the work, right? So we got to unlearn and relearn. Again, that's what mental shampoo is all about. We want to unlearn the things that are not benefiting to us in any way any longer. And we want to relearn some things so that we can get further along in our journey in a better and brighter way, right? Romans 12:2. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, lathering up, cleaning out the things of old, all right, and putting in new things that will actually help you as you grow older in age and in wisdom and in action, right? We're not jumping on couches no more. We're sitting down and we're acting civilized. That makes sense. We put away childish things, but we still be childlike. Shout out to Childlike versus Childish, one of the previous chapters. Y'all make sure y'all check that out. Music. Y'all know I love music. I told y'all before, Love Yours by J. Cole, my favorite record of all time. When I say all time, all time. All time. I don't care about no 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, 2010s records. That J. Cole record, Love Yours, is my favorite record of all time, right? Going back to fulfillment, following up with oneself. Now we're talking about self-fortune. You know, we talked about human capital, social currency. That's cool. You know, we learned about that's my tribe, the importance of a community. But again, everything starts with self. You have to get mad, M-A-D, make a decision to make sure that you yourself are fulfilled in whatever it is that you're doing, right? Love Yours is a record that is basically saying, you know, no matter what's going on around you with what's going on with the people that are around you, right? Make sure that you love yourself enough, because there is no such thing as a life that's better than yours. Stop comparing and just do. You know, there's a post that was frequently flowing on the internet, and it showed that a person walking on the street, and it was beside a person who was on a bike, and it was beside a person that was in a car, and it was beside a person that was in a plane, right? Oh, and I think it was a person with like no feet or something like that, and say, "Oh, I wish I could walk." Then it was like, "Oh, I wish I had a bike." Then it was like, "Oh, I wish I had that car." "Oh, I wish I could, afford a flight." I wish. You know what I mean? And we all, myself included, are guilty of comparing ourselves. I remember looking on TV and seeing some of these correspondents and whatnot, these commentators and all of that, like, yo, I'm just as good as they are. You know what I mean? I'm better than them. Why I ain't up there? You dig what I'm saying? But again, timing is of the essence. Apparently, I got to put in more work, because hard work beats talent. And talent won't work unless you work hard. You know what I mean? Whew. Mental shampoo. We all go through that. I grew out of that, thank God. But we all have compared ourselves to somebody at some point of our life. That's immature, okay? And I'm not saying that I still don't have those thoughts. I haven't in a while, quite frankly. But when I do, I shake it off. And I think I haven't had that thought as of late because I've been doing what I'm supposed to do. I've been following up with myself and working hard, because the fortune is in what? The follow-up. All right? But in addition to the music, one of my favorite records, I've been on the Erykah Badu craze. in the past few months. Just been listening to a lot. I know the kids in my classroom, I listen to Times of Wasting by Erykah Badu every day. And it's times of wasting. Don't you take your time, young man. Like, I feel like she made that song for me, man. Like real life. Like keep on drifting. Ain't no telling where you'll land. Times are wasting. Don't take your time, young man. Keep on drifting. Ain't no telling where you'll land. Like the message in that is so strong. Didn't You Know was another record. And here's that. She said, ooh, hey, I'm trying to decide which way to go. I think I made a wrong turn back there somewhere. Like, trying to figure this life thing out. It's, and I told somebody, like, the beautiful part about challenges and struggles is the fact that it's a constant figuring out. Like, if we figured life out, there's no need to live no more. I'm just going to put that out there. This life is meant to have more challenges and struggles and pain than anything else, because that's where the lessons are. Could you imagine just coming into a perfect life? If you ever heard the story of Buddha, his folks tried to keep him away from what was outside, kept him in the palace, living lavish. But then when Buddy had a chance to see what was out there, he wanted to go see what else was going on out there. And then he humbled himself enough to go down there with the folks and live like the people. The lessons are in the struggles, the challenges, the pain. There's no way around pain, okay? As we get older and as we continue to live life, like my uncle say, boy, just keep on living. Like my granny used to say, and my mama, for real, just keep living, all right? You learn how to better manage these things, okay? But yeah, another part of that record of Didn't You Know, she said that, let me scroll down. She said, this is one of my favorite parts in the song. She said, love is life and life is free. Take a ride of life with me. Free your mind and find your way. There will be a brighter day. Like there's hope. There is hope. You know what I mean? Free your mind. The Bible declares, man, you cannot add a single hour to your life by worrying. You can't get away from the pain, the struggles, and the challenges. It's going to happen. Free your mind of that. If God is taking care of the birds and everybody else, it's no question God is going to take care of you too. So free your mind and find your way. There will be a brighter day. Yeah. I love that. All right. Last record. It's Your World by Common. This record is, and look, this top 5, top 10 rappers of all time, it's all opinionated. But I'm telling you right now, Common is in my top 5. I ain't gonna hold you. Like, I listen, as much as I listen to Erykah Badu, J. Cole is equivalent to how much I listen to Common. Like, and I like listening to music that really makes me think and can really like help shape and mold my life. You know what I mean? And these artists that I just named and these records that I'm saying help me to do just that. So this record is called It's Your World. And it's a part 1 and a part 2 to that. And, when it comes to, the part 2, at the end, his father shares a nice, beautiful poem. But I want to share with y'all some of the lyrics that Common rapped about in that. He said, used to gangbang, ain't really thug that much, rather have some thick broads and a Dutch to clutch. Went to school in Baton Rouge for a couple of years. My college career got down by a couple of beers. Came back home. Now I got a payback loan. Same niggas, same block, same shit they on. Only thing different, quicker they click that chrome. In my defense, I had to hit the zone. Man to man, I'm good with working with my hands. My generation never understood working for the man. And being broke, I ain't a fan. Now I stand in the same spot as my old man. My life, I plan not to be on this corner. I still want to see California, but this is my world. Like, he's rapping about the world that he's living in. You know, the redlining, the zoning, all of that stuff that we face as black and brown people. Okay? Like, we go through these different things that other folks wouldn't even like believe or don't really care to believe, rather, because they know what's going on, right? But Common is really rapping about the everyday struggle of the black and brown male, but just the black community in general. Like, this is my world. Like, these are the things that I've seen. And I know that folks like you and myself, we can resonate with that. You know what I mean? And again, you know, his father was able to share, you know, a poem at the end, and I want to share a little bit of that. He said, be here, be there, be that, be this, be grateful for life, be grateful to life, be gleeful every day for being the best swimmer amongst 500,000. You know, we was one of the ones that made it out. You know what I mean? We were meant to have this life that we live in. So be present. You know what I mean? It's heavy. It's heavy. What a way to go out with chapter 10. The fortune is in the follow-up. Follow up with whomever you say you're going to follow up with. But most importantly, when you figure out where you want to go in this life thing, when you figure out what you want to do for real, don't focus on the bag, the monetary of it all, the monies, the greenback. That's going to come. What we want to do is make a decision. We want to get mad and make a decision. Okay? So that's all I got. For real, for real. The fortune is in the follow-up. Please be clear. You know, you can have all the money in the world, all right, and still be depressed out of your mind. I want you to be okay. I want you to ask yourself in the mirror, referring back to the mirror talk. Go in that mirror and ask yourself these questions, right? How's my head space? How's my heart space? How are you really feeling today? Follow up with you, because you wake up and go to sleep with you every day. You were born in this world by yourself. You're going to die by yourself, all right? So make sure that you are following up with yourself, all right, on a daily basis. And then as you continue to follow up with oneself, then, my friend, you will find your fortune. You dig what I'm saying? It's Key Marcane coming to you all the way live, your favorite country cousin, your favorite Mississippian, and your best friend. You have just tapped in. Can't believe I'm saying this. Chapter 10 of Mental Shampoo and Audio Experience Plus More. I have had fun creating this, and I look forward to doing more. But at this point, we're going to take a nice break. You know what I mean? And, you know, I got to go live some more so that I can give more mental shampoo, right? Things I learned on my own, things I learned from friends and families and even strangers. You know what I mean? It's been fun. It's been real. For real, for real. Thank y'all for tapping in. Thank you to Amanda and the Murals for making this a possibility and a reality. The fortune is in the follow-up. The fortune is in the follow-up. The fortune is in the follow-up. Only thing you got to do now after following up is follow through. Y'all be blessed. Get some rest. See you next time.